of ohmTown, that site right there. And what I do each day is I go over a selection, rather eclectic, pretty much maybe really could be coined as a hot mess of news that I find interesting, and maybe others are interested in the same. And maybe give a little more context to it, perhaps. Encourage conversation, that's for sure. And I do this every day from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern. And I use this site, the one that's over there, ohmTown.com, to aggregate all of this news into 6 main categories: create, news, education, entertainment, social, and technology. A few days from now, I'll stop going through that and rely on people either seeing the older news or simply witnessing the site. And we'll see if that makes any difference to anything, really. But today's news has been largely about Russia and Ukraine, with a bunch of other news kind of intermixed within it. I'm not sure if you can still hear the music, but I hear it on my side. If you're in my chat, you can always ask questions or make comments. I'm actually kind of on a really tight schedule today. I've got a meeting starting at 7:15, so let's get into the news. Don't feel like you have to not ask me questions in chat. I'll adjust my schedule to fit the discussion. That said, the very first article is in the Smack Talk channel, and it's about app tracking transparency is harmful, says Facebook, as advertisers flee the platform. Says Facebook and Instagram's parent company Meta has labeled Apple's app tracking transparency feature harmful. One analyst said that the privacy measure could be the biggest challenge the company ever faces. Now, this is a 9 to 5 article written by Ben Lovejoy, and goes into greater detail. It looks like they also reference a Wall Street Journal and others, I'm sure. But Apple had made some changes to the structure of app privacy, basically nullifying any tracking that apps might have. And it says Martha Kruger, who runs a gift basket business called Gift and Market, used to spend her entire advertising budget on Facebook and Instagram. When Apple introduced a privacy feature for mobile devices last year that restricts user tracking, she said her cost to acquire customers rose tenfold. In October, she shifted her whole ad budget to search ads on Google. The privacy change is hitting the heart of Meta's business, its ability to target ads at users with precision and prove to marketers that the ads generate sales. Earlier this month, Meta said it expects a roughly $10 billion hit to sales this year as the result of the Apple change, which requires apps to ask users for permission to track their activity and share it. Well, hate to break it to you, but users being notified of being tracked and in control of their data shouldn't be news. Users should be in charge of their data and where it is exfiltrated from and to. I have no problem with what Apple is doing. But that's me. What do you think? The fact that a marketer switches over to Google just shows that Google might be doing it in a different way. May not be so specific to an account. Maybe a little bit more user accessible, approachable, understandable. But Meta, aka Facebook, Instagram, all of their stuff gets kind of funneled into a singular tracking system and tracks everywhere they go, what they do. And maybe people just aren't interested in Facebook anymore. That's always a direction that could be a reality, right? People are moving away from Facebook. So some of them suggest that Meta's focus on the metaverse is so that it can control the environment and regain the ability to offer ads that are closely aligned to users' interests and online behaviors. Yeah, well, tracking users is pretty much what it's all about. Let's continue on to the next article. The next news bit. This lands in the Warcrafters channel. Valve is already planning a Steam Deck 2. That's understandable. A Steam Deck came out and everybody was hyping crazy over it and saw what it was capable of and ordered it. It's a success. It really is. So why not start planning the next Steam Deck and make sure that you've ironed out the bugs for the first one and release the second one? Absolutely not unheard of, because we learn a lot from that, and it helps frame our thinking for Deck 2. Yeah, this shouldn't be considered really news. This is an article over at PCGamer.com. Rick Lane wrote the article. Gabe Newell views the device as a permanent addition to PC gaming. It competes with other console, essentially, devices, but it's a mini console. You know, I think that it's great for people who want to have full access to their Steam profile, be able to play all of the games that they've purchased. I think it's great. I mean, it's too small of a screen for me, but I guess I'm considered one of the olds. Love playing games, but I like having a massive screen that I can play the game on and not have to worry about the little screen. It'll be good for some. I'm playing, what is it called now? I'm playing Core Keeper, which is a demo that if you've never seen Next Fest on Steam, you'll dig Core Keeper. It's a fun game. And that would be great. Absolutely great on Steam Deck, as many other games would be. I just don't see myself playing a game like Elden Ring on it. Others might. They probably love it. But for me, I want a desktop. And everything that it affords. Room, so much space for activities on a desktop. What do you think? Do you think Steam Deck 2 is already where you're going to be putting your money? Or are you going to jump on the bandwagon for the original Steam Deck? There's an old adage about never buying version 1 of something. Yeah. I never listen to that. I always get the first thing. I'm an early adopter. I love tech. So if it wasn't for the fact that I don't really like the form factor, I'd probably be getting a Steam Deck. This next article is over on Warcrafters. After 13 years development, Half-Life mod about marine assault on Black Mesa launches to rave reviews. I didn't hear anything about this. I really wasn't paying much attention to this area of gaming, but It says Half-Life Field Intensity is a new mod for Valve's 1998 shooter that launched this week after 13 years in development. And how to call me old without calling me old. That sentence right there. Created by a group of 3 veteran modders known as Hazard Team, whose previous work includes the 2009 prequel mod, Half-Life Induction. Field Intensity is a much larger project. 34 maps follow the story of one of the Marines sent into Black Mesa to quell the alien invasion and silence the scientists working there. Let's click this link. This is a PCGamer.com article written by Rick Lane. It says it was written by a Russian-Ukrainian modding team. This might be... wow. Talk about timing. I hope everybody is okay over there. It's a weird time to be dropping a Russian/Ukrainian made mod. And I wish them luck. I can't really get too much into this other than the fact that it is out there. If you are in the modding area and want to play Half-Life with this mod, go over to PCGamer.com, click the link that's in my chat. As always, it's always available in the many formats that this stream is going to turn into. So you can follow the link on the website itself at ohmTown.com. You can follow the link in the description at YouTube when it gets dropped there. I'm actually pretty caught up. I'm about a week away, not a week away. I'm a couple of days away. By Monday, I should have all of my past VODs uploaded to YouTube and their descriptions in tow. And next is the podcast. All 50 plus episodes will be released into the podcast, pretty much in one lump sum. And you can always go to the Discord, but I don't put anything on the Discord yet. But I should, and I will. And we're doing Twitter as well. So I'm kind of expanding, hoping to find more people who are interested in coming into my chat and talking with me in real time. So, and that's really my main area of focus. I'm really interested in doing the real time interactions. So feel free to throw a comment in chat. And also go over to PCGamer.com and show Rick Lane that you appreciate their article. The next article is in Bee Baby. It's a channel about jewelry making. And it says Anna Riker is the New York-based 3D artist and jewelry designer behind Anna Riker Jewelry. As her shop name suggests, she designs nature-inspired jewelry. Not sure that's what it does, but okay. Her lovely creations depict her love of insects and animals like chameleons and frogs in a variety of metals and metallic finishes. So let's click this link. I like to highlight artists. And in this particular case, this is really interesting. Wow. It looks like it's a copper bracelet with an insect of some kind. It could be, to me, it looks like a, oh my goodness, my brain just fell out of my head. Yeah, my brain is not working right now. So it's not it says down here at the bottom, she features many insects like bees, moths, butterflies, and the Hercules beetle. That's not what that is. But she has some really interesting items like a chameleon ring, or a chameleon earring, frogs jumping through hoops, which are hoop earrings. I guess those are hooping frogs. I'll leave it alone. Bees and moths and beetles, a couple of frogs in a boat. And maybe she has it. There it is, a mantis. My gosh, I don't know why my brain would not owe up to this. I knew what it was. I couldn't recall what it was called. Anyway, it was an orchid mantis in copper. And I found it really interesting hearing what this was because I recently bought a kiln, and I'm very interested in what's called metal clay, which is essentially either copper or silver or others. You can get others, but copper and silver is the main core of metallic clay. And what you do is you make whatever it is out of clay, and then you put it in your kiln, and it burns off the binder, and you have a solid copper or wrapped copper piece or silver piece, and you polish it up and you make your other design work on it. And bang, you've got something like this. Now, I'm not sure if that's how she does it. There are a multitude of ways of how to create this kind of stuff, but to me, it looks like it might be metallic clay. Ultimately, it is 99.9%, I think it is, at least 99% pure, either copper or bronze or silver. You can get, like I said, different types of clay. But go over to beatinggem.com, and again, the beating gem is actually Pearl Blay. She goes by the Beating Gem, and she's the one that runs the site Beating Gem. Okay, the next article is in the Word and Tech. Inside Galactic Star Cruiser, Disney's hotel where everyone becomes a Star Wars character. I've been told that this is really, really expensive. But I haven't looked into it. And it says here, a galaxy far, far away gets a whole lot closer for $6,000 per stay. So let's click this link and take you right on over to it. There's an article on The Verge written by Shane Gartenberg. And for $6,000, you basically become a part of Star Wars. It says, unfortunately, due to the compressed nature of the media preview, I spent most of my time aboard Disney's biggest bet in years in my usual guise of Shane Gartenberg reporter. Part hotel, part LARP, which LARP is live action roleplay. Part theme park, Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser wants to be nothing less than the ultimate Star Wars experience. Man, this is pretty elaborate set work here. The main atrium of the Halcyon and what you'll see when you step on board. $6,000 a day, though. It says, as such, this is not an assessment of whether the whole package is worth the eye-watering $4,809 starting price tag that Disney is charging for its Galactic Star Cruiser stay. Wow. But you don't become a billion-dollar company, multi-billion-dollar company, and you don't get sets like that and immersion like that for $50. Heck, you can't see a movie in a movie theater for $50 nowadays. The Halcyon plays a role in the ongoing High Republic multimedia storyline of books, and there's already a comic book series that explains the backstory and shows iconic characters like Anakin Skywalker, Padme Amidala, and Lando Calrissian stays aboard the ship. And that's something that Disney does just an amazing job of, which is integrating all kinds of media and methods and modes of distributing that messaging out there. Even the actors, the various actors that work for Disney, you'll see them in one show, but it's really a high view marketing method to get that new actor out into the public, along with other things that they're doing, right? So if a new actor comes onto the scene, they'll get injected into a very popular show to give them presence, and then they're pulled out of that show and given their own show, knowing everybody knows full well that the intent is to raise awareness for that new show that's coming. It's really interesting how they do it. And so everybody is an actor, everybody is a model, everybody is a skilled musician in some way, or they're awesome at stagecraft, something. But it's usually a multitude of things. It isn't just one. So this article over on The Verge is really interesting, and it's quite long, so I'm not going to go through the whole thing. But go over to Shane Gartenberg's article, A Look Aboard Disney's $6,000 per stay immersive Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel. A galaxy far, far away gets a whole lot closer. That's all their statement. But for me, there should be a little tag at the end of that says, not much closer at $6,000 per stay. At least not for me. And if that is for the average Joe, I am far from the average Joe. This next article is in the Law Nerd channel. This is a show about law from the layman's side of things. Until at least I find somebody that wants to co-host it and is a law nerd. I know that there are certain rules and regulations regarding interacting, talking about law, primarily that lawyers can't partner with non-lawyers. So if you can host or co-host this show, we have a lot of discussion for us to take. But we can always talk about it. If you're an attorney or know of an attorney who wants to talk about law live for 1 hour out of the week, it's going to be one of the 50 shows that ohmTown intends to launch. So the lawyer for the man that was dragged from a plane sees a lawsuit likelihood and wants to stop airline bullying. It says a lawyer for the man dragged from a United Airlines plane said at a press conference on Thursday that his client will need reconstructive surgery. Let's click this link. So Deborah Cassens-Weiss is the author of this article, not the attorney that is in the title. But it says a lawyer for a man dragged from United Airlines says that the client will need reconstructive surgery. And they're Thomas Demetrio, I'll pronounce it properly. Maybe that's not even correct. Said that his client, David Dow, suffered a concussion and a broken nose and lost 2 front teeth when he was forcefully removed from the plane in Chicago on Sunday. And then says in a quote, "Here's the law, real simple. If you're going to eject a passenger, under no circumstances can it be done with unreasonable force or violence." Well, I'm sure that the law is cut and dry. But what if you're violent on the plane? I haven't seen any video regarding this. It says here that the video is no longer available because a YouTube account associated with the video has been terminated. That's never a good sign. But obviously, this article will be going into greater detail. It says passengers recorded cell phone video of Dow being dragged down the aisle. United had asked Dow and 3 other passengers to leave the plane in Chicago to make room for crew members who needed to get to Louisville. Dow had refused, saying that he was a doctor who needed to see patients the next day. If that is the reason, that it was just for people for crew members that needed to get to Louisville. It says Dow did not have a current medical license, but was trying to regain it. Has reported he was allowed to practice medicine in 2015, however, provided he met certain conditions. And he had given up his license in 2005 after being convicted in connection with allegations of fraudulent prescriptions. Ouch. Well, they're going to impugn the reputation of the person. And really, I mean, Why pick these 3 or 4 people and why do it in this way? This is going to be a reputation hit for the airline, depending on how it plays out. But if they weren't unruly and it was just unreasonable force and violence, then I can see that this is going to be in favor of the client, let's say. But we'll see. We will revisit this as the lawsuit continues. I'm sure it will be in the news. The next article has to do with technology, and it's about the AirTag stalking concerns. Apparently they continue. A university study underway to measure the problem. AirTag stalking concerns continue to be voiced, despite the fact that Apple's tracker is the least suitable one on the market for anyone with malicious intent, according to some research, I'm sure. One campaign group is calling for all companies making Bluetooth trackers to cooperate in the development of new safety measures, and a university is conducting a study designed to assess the scale of the problem. So let's click onto this article, and it's an article written by Ben Lovejoy from 9to5mac.com. Hey, Ben, you should wipe the fingerprints off of your AirTag when you take a picture of it. Sorry, it makes the security element in me kind of cringe a little bit. But AirTag stalking is a real thing. Apparently you can just drop an AirTag somewhere. And if you get the right holder, you can basically make it magnetic and it'll stick to wherever you want, and you can track them, and it's long-term tracking. It isn't this light, fluffy, not a big deal kind of tracking, but a person can track somebody 24 hours a day wherever they go, depending on where they put the tracker. You know, it's easy to attach it to a car. It's rather innocuous. You can stick it anywhere. I agree that it is an issue. It's also something that is easily, I wouldn't say easily. Once you know about it, you can catch the person who planted the tracker. It's tied to an account somewhere. And all of that has forensic evidence that will lead you back to the person. But GPS trackers in general have been around for as long as GPS has been around. They just haven't been so small and easily managed. So if you're curious about this, go over to 9to5Mac. Happy to talk about it more in chat or in another episode. But I want to draw some attention to it. That AirTag's basically a little bit bigger than a quarter and can track people for a long time, long distance in a professional interface. Very user accessible tracking. This next article is Apple's AR headset testing reaches next stage of engineering validation. One person said to me that it's no longer a prototype. And okay, that's awesome. So this is in the Smack Talk channel. It says supply chain sources say that Apple AR's headset testing has now reached the next phase of engineering validation after moving beyond the prototype stage. Oh, look, it says it right here in the article. Again, just so you know, I don't prep for these shows, these 1-hour shows. I read the news that I click on throughout the day based on the a little snippet that I capture before I even see what I just read is. I see the headline and a tiny little line. That said, this is great. I want Apple to develop an AR VR headset. My only concern is that it isn't wireless. And if it is wired, which, come on, we're talking about Apple here. Apple hates wires probably worse than I do. So they're my spirit animal in terms of technology. This thing is going to be a wireless AR VR headset. I hope the VR AR combination is done properly. I will give up a lot to get a high quality next generation AR VR headset. But let's click this link and take you over. I think it's a 9 to 5 Mac. Ben Lovejoy wrote another article. This is a computer render of what somebody might be imagining the AR headset to be. They need to get rid of these wires. Just get rid of these wires. I think it'll attach to your phone and send telemetry that way, but otherwise it will be entirely on its own. Basically wrap around the front of your face iPhone, probably with a cellular connectivity option so that you can actually stream movies straight to your AR VR headset, and interact with data. But I do not think that there's going to be wires. That said, it talks about the background, development phases. Apple AR headset testing reaches EVT2 is what a Digitimes report states, and 9 to 5 Mac is reporting as being paywalled. So there's only so much information that we're going to be able to get without paying for it by Digitimes. Typically around 50 products would be made each year, or each EVT stage, meaning that there are now probably at least 100 devices within Apple's walls. Now, I would love for this to be leaked at a bar somewhere. Just kidding. There have been a couple of instances where Apple tech has been absconded from a location somewhere. But let's continue on. The next article is in Smack Talk as well. Safari is about to lose its place as the world's second most used desktop web browser. Apple Safari's web browser has never been as popular as Google Chrome, which dominates the worldwide market share, but it has been consolidated as the second most used browser for a long time. However, new data suggests that Safari is about to lose its second place in the ranking to its competitors. Safari is about to lose its place as the world's second most used desktop web browser. Let's click this link. I think it's Philippe Esposito is the author of this article, and it says, as shown by StatCounter via TechRadar and now via 9 to 5 Mac, Safari remains the second most used desktop web browser in the world as of January 22nd, but two of its competitors are close to taking over second place this time around. Microsoft Edge is right behind Safari, and Firefox, which only had 8.1% share in January of 2021, is now at 9.18%. So Google Chrome still has 65% of the market. What a lot of people used to appreciate from Google Chrome was its speed, and I don't think people really tied memory usage that much to Chrome. Now people talk about Google Chrome taking a ton of memory. I used to use Firefox almost entirely when I wasn't on a Mac. If I'm not on a Mac, I use Chrome now, but I like Firefox better. I like its speed. I like its memory footprint. I don't feel like it slows down as much, but that's apparently I'm in the wrong, and it's more anecdotal than scientific observation. But on a Mac, I only use Safari and occasionally Chrome when I'm doing something separate, when I have two different logins on the same computer. That's pretty much it. Like right now, I'm using Chrome and I'm using Firefox. So two different browsers allow me to have two different login credentials in place. But let me continue on. The next article is in Smack Talk. I really do have a hard out at 7 o'clock, so I've got to go. OtterBox debuts first magnetic iPhone 13 power bank with MagSafe charging pass-through. Today, OtterBox is expanding its collection of MagSafe accessories with what might be its most unique offering yet. It's a power bank. There's a 5,000 milliamp hour battery on top of the novel inclusion of MagSafe pass-through. So let's click this link and take a look at it. So this is an article again over at 9to5toys.com. Blair Altland is the author of this article, and it shows a black and maybe a clear version of, yeah, it looks like a clearer version of the OtterBox with a battery pack, kind of like a suckerfish, kind of just right on there on the case. It's interesting. And so it actually allows for MagSafe pass-through, which is even more interesting. But I think, I have a weird relationship with this, because anything that has to do with pass through in a battery means that it's going to be charging the battery, and the battery is going to be charging the device. There is no way to just transfer through the magnetic field from a battery pack that charges by MagSafe to the device that also charges and consumes via the MagSafe system. So in essence, this is kind of like a battery centipede, technology centipede. I'll have to leave it there. If you've never seen what I'm talking about, don't look it up. Wow, that's weird encouragement. But it says much to many iPhone 13 owners' chagrin, the new OtterBox MagSafe power bank joins many of the brand's existing 7 chargers with a 7.5 watt output. That's about par for the course when it comes to third-party accessories, and the one downside to those who want specs offered by the M5 MagSafe gear, which is a higher charging rate. On the flip side, OtterBox is making up for that by delivering a first-of-its-kind feature to the MagSafe power bank. Alongside being able to charge an iPhone over MagSafe, the device can also be refueled via MagSafe, as outlined in the photo above. And if you're looking at the video, then you see that photo. But I think that's where I'm going to end this, because not the stream, but talking about this particular thing. It's a $70 power bank, and it will charge your device while it's being charged by a MagSafe system, and it's magnetic. So go over to 9to5toys. The link is in the chat. The link will be on the site, and you can read more about it. And that's kind of the going rate for a quality battery pack, $70. Now, jumping back in time a little bit, the original Steam Deck is still being offered, and it's still in demand. So where can you get it? When can you get it? It says Valve released the Steam Deck's initial wave on February 25th. Huh. What day is today? Oh yeah, February 25th. So people who jumped at it, and it basically sold out that, I think it was like that first day. People were up late at night waiting to be able to acquire this thing. You should start getting notices that you're going to be getting them. I don't know how long it'll be, but it's on its way. This article by Jacob Ridley over at PCGamer.com goes into greater detail. It says here, waiting in line for a Steam Deck and want to know when you can order one, or are you late to the party and wondering how to get in? Yeah, apparently PC Gamer and Jacob Ridley has you covered, or have you covered. Valve released the Steam Deck on initial wave on February 25th, 2022. After that time, you have very rough estimates as to when the next Steam Deck shipments will be. I'm in line, not for a Steam Deck, for another device, but the devices have been pushed back further and further and further. And where I was promised a device, It's already in production. It's not a unique or new or whatever device. This is a ready device, not just the Steam Deck that I'm talking about, but my personal product that I'm waiting to receive. But because of all of the production issues, supplier issues, COVID, et cetera, everything's being pushed back. I should have received my device in November. Now we're talking about maybe October of this year getting the device that I've already paid for. And because of supply chain issues, it's being kicked down, the can is being kicked down the road quite a distance. So hopefully Valve has some pull and will be able to fulfill the various purchases that are coming. How do I make a reservation for a Steam Deck? Just head over to the Steam Deck product page, log in, grab a reservation. It says they're $5, but that comes off the total of the Steam Deck if you buy one, or it's refunded if you change your mind. Yeah, there's no harm, no foul there. If you order it, or if you try and order it, it's going to be a while, I'd say. But maybe not. Maybe they will get their head wrapped around it and meet the demand. But let's continue on. The next article is over in the Band to Bezel channel. It's all about watches, typically technology-centric, Apple Watch sort of show, but timekeeping in general. It says one of the very few things that unite watch collectors today is a general distaste for date windows. Let's click this link and take a look at this, because it says we criticize the wrong thing when we attack the date windows, and this watch proves it. Ta-da! Yep, the watch is upside down, but Hodinkee.com, Logan Baker is the author. They always have tremendous photography in this. It obviously highlights the use, care and feeding of the watch. But I tend to agree about the date window. I don't think that there is a nice way to put the date window's form and function together and in a pleasing aesthetic as, a little square. That you can't see my cursor, but the back of the watch is really nice. Wow, I've never seen anything like that before. Huh. That's really interesting. I'll have to look into this one. This is really interesting. It's hard to describe the back of a watch when it has a clear crystal. It might be a crystal glass back, but it shows the train of gears and the balance. But I've never seen this design. It's really amazing looking. Okay, I've got to continue on. But if you're looking at a watch and it has a date window, it's basically this square just kind of dug out of the face of the watch. And it's never been attractive to me. I've never liked it. And I've actually not purchased a watch because it has a date window. I'd rather just look at the time and not worry about the rest of it. And even in this particular iteration of it, it too is just kind of carved out. But they talk about it in much more flowery language as being appropriate. But I just don't like it. I want to see something here because they took a photograph of the very element that I find really interesting. But I'm going to have to send an email to somebody to describe this better to me as to what I am looking at. And it's hard for me to explain it. It says with its asymmetric timekeeping displays and big screen panorama date indication are exactly what comes to mind when we think of the post-2000 Swatch Group era of watchmaking. But I don't think that they're talking about, I don't think they mention it, the back of this watch and its gearworks. This balance is really interesting. I think it's the balance. Anyway, Go over to Hodinkee, take a look at the pictures, and then come and talk to me in chat, or send me an email, or send me a DM. In some way, get in touch with me and help me figure out what that picture is, what it is that I'm looking at. I'm going to keep going on with the news today. In the continuity report, which is a show about movies and TV shows, the article is that Russia has been banned from Eurovision's song contest in 2022 because of its quote unquote invasion of Ukraine. The European Broadcasting Union, I really flipped that entirely. The EBU has announced that no Russian act will participate in this year's Eurovision Song Contest. And that's a decision the board made. Let's see how much blowback that causes. KJ Yossman is the article writer for Variety. And the EBU basically booted Russia out of Eurovision Songs Contest. And there's a lot of people talking about this, the invasion of Ukraine, and the context of it. I don't necessarily want to go into discussing this because it's a fluid news environment. We don't know what the results are going to be of this action. It's still underway. We know some of it. Yeah, I'm just going to have to leave this alone. Let's just say they've been booted from Eurovision, at least for now. We'll see what happens. Time and money and politics are all playing in this together. So we'll see what the end result is. But I'm going to continue on. The next article is Disney takes visitors to a galaxy far, far away. I had already spoken about this in a different way, but I'm going to click this link. This is a New York Times article about the Star Cruiser and has a slightly different perspective. Not much greater difference, but it's an article by Brooks Barnes, and it says 2 nights aboard the Galactic Star Cruiser runs $6,000 for a family of 4. Okay, so there you go. $3,000 a day. Wow, $3,000 a day for a family of 4. Can't be that much cheaper for just 2 people. And this is the entrance. I had seen pictures of this being built. It's big. It's impressive. They use some amazing technology. But I'm sure that there's a lot of wealth out there that's capable of paying this. And some families will even go into debt to go to interact as a once in a lifetime kind of, or once in your youth kind of event. But it is quite the expense. But like many other Disney things, Disney products, it's very immersive, and you can literally be touched by the immersion. People walk by you in full regalia and talk to you and interact and expect a response, and it's quite entertaining, quite fun. So go over to New York Times and read the rest of this article by Brooks Barnes. It's interesting. Karina Ja, I guess is the last name, had a skeptical look on her face as she glanced around the lobby of her Walt Disney World hotel. Checking in had been a cinch, but staffers are now bombarding her with bizarre greetings. Good journey. As part of the role-playing game, the parameters of which are not entirely clear. Suddenly a siren sounded, red lights flashed, and stormtroopers appeared with blaster rifles brandished. It's so immersive. I mean, I absolutely love um, the world building that gets done. But let's keep on going. This news isn't as fun. Bird flu is sweeping through poultry farms in eastern U.S. It says mass cullings have been implemented as a highly contagious form of avian flu has swept across the eastern half of the United States in recent weeks, killing both farmed poultry and wild birds. We'll click this link. And this is a phys.org article. It's very concerning given how quickly this thing is accelerating, says Henry Neiman, a biochemist in Pittsburgh who studies the genetic evolution of viruses. I think we could see historic levels of infections. And with summer coming, who knows if it'll burn out fast because it's not heat resistant versus what happens with viruses and other infectious diseases, which when winter comes, they actually harden a protein coat around it, is what I've been told. And so the infection can be obtained at a further distance. And it can survive longer on surfaces because it's basically gone into like a little stasis mode so that it can survive longer in the cold. Heat is typically a destroyer of anything, everything. So we'll see. The virus is called Eurasian H5N1. Has not jumped to humans, but is being closely watched by scientists because it's closely related to the Asian strain that has infected people since 2003. And I'm going to continue on. The next article is over in the Word in Tech. Samsung's 49-inch gaming monitor is back to its lowest price ever. This is according to The Verge. Returning to its all-time low price, the Samsung Odyssey Neo G9 gaming monitor, which is, again, just so you know, a 49-inch gaming monitor, is $2,000 on Amazon. And it used to be $2,500. It is a spectacular screen with a resolution of 5220 by 1440 and 240 hertz. So let's click this link. Alice Newcomb Beale is the author of this article at The Verge. Whoa, wait a minute. That is not right. Hold on a second. They actually changed they changed the URL and redirected it. Okay. That's fascinating. They redirected the URL. Okay. Well, sorry about that. I think that maybe it might be a comment within this article, but this correction February 25th. An earlier version of this post highlighted a deal on the Samsung Odyssey Neo G9, which, unlike the excellent Odyssey G9, is not a monitor we recommend. The Neo? Okay. We removed the deal and updated the post to reflect the change. We regret the error. Hey, look. This is what happens when you use the live internet. And I didn't, like I said previously, I don't prep for these shows. So we get to deal with this the same way anybody would have, clicking on a link that references this article. So they've done an interesting job reverting back, saying that they don't like the Samsung Odyssey Neo G9, but the Odyssey G9 is worthwhile. So you'll have to make another determination, and I will acknowledge that I have I've seen the Odyssey monitor, the 240 hertz one. It actually is an amazing piece of kit, but 49 inches is massive. I mean, this thing will wrap around. Everything you see behind me is basically that from there to there is like 49 inches behind me, if the way that the perspective is. So yeah, I think right back there is close to, yeah, it's closer to 5 feet. But anyway, that's an amount of kit. It's twice my monitors, essentially, without the bezel and stuff. But it's quite nice. Like, I've got 27-inch monitors, 49-inch. That's a lot of real estate. But that has nothing to do with the article that's on my screen right now. So let's continue on. I have a couple more articles and then I've got to go. The rise and fall of the riskiest asteroid in a decade. So initial observations of an asteroid dubbed 2022 AE1, could be a name for somebody, showed a potential Earth impact on 4 July 2023, not enough time to attempt deflection and large enough to do real damage to a local area should it strike. That is quite the summary of an article in the Word in Tech channel. That's where we would have a discussion if it was a 1-hour show. So if you are interested in this kind of stuff and you want to host or co-host, get in touch with me. So they got a little picture here. It says asteroid 2021 AE1 observed with the Keller Alto Schmidt telescope in Spain. There might be more to this, but it's truncated. I've never seen a photo like this. I think it's amazing. This article was written by the European Space Agency, by the way, for phys.org. Worryingly, the chance of impact appeared to increase based on the first 7 days of observations, followed by a dramatic week in the dark as the full moon outshone the potential impactor, ruling out further observations. As the moon moved aside, the skies dimmed, and ESA's Near-Earth Object Coordination Center, or NEOC, took another look, only to find the chance of impact was dramatically falling. Yeah, I guess depending on the angle of attack, we have a very limited view of our universe. Everybody, a lot of people, I shouldn't say everybody, a lot of people think that we just have this massive range of area where we can see the whole universe, but it's really just a sliver. It's a point of attack. I mean, it's a cone, and that cone is just a tiny little thing because you have to narrow the field of view. If it's really wide, then you're not going to see anything because the field of view, the depth of field needs to be scaled out, right? So you change the focus and you can zoom out and you can see something, but that's why you don't have a ground-based telescopes looking really close at the moon. I was told the tech just doesn't exist for that because of the way that optics work. The moon is essentially too close for astrophotography. You can see the whole of the moon, but you can't get close enough with your optics to see something like the flag that's on it or some other device that's still sitting on the surface of the moon. You have to have just a really high-res camera, take a picture of the entirety of the moon or a portion of it, and then zoom in digitally. Or so I've been told. Maybe things have changed over the years. In January this year, we became aware of an asteroid with the highest ranking on the Palermo scale that we've seen in more than a decade, reaching -1.5, explains Marco Micheli, astronomer at ESA's NEOC. In my almost 10 years at ESA, I've never seen such a risky object. It was a thrill to track 2022 AE1 and refine its trajectory until we had enough data to say for certain this asteroid will not strike. Well, I'm glad that they calculated that it would not strike. And I really wonder what the continuity of operations would demand. Like, who all would be notified when and what and where and how. I mean, telling somebody that an asteroid's about to hit Earth and it's going to land in some place and its impact is going to cause what damage? That is a stunning amount of responsibility there. Let me go back and throw this in chat. I'm going to come up with a different way of doing this so that I'm not pasting these into chat, but you still have access to all of the articles that I'm going to be talking about. And then finally, this last article is in The Word in Tech. Wage transparency reduces academic gender wage gap. A pair of researchers, one with HEC Paris, the other with University of Utah, has found that when universities make the salaries of employees public, the gap in gender pay disparity shrinks. Well, no doubt. And I think that's great. Pay should not depend on gender. Obviously, there's context there. There's different rationales for why somebody based on gender would get something different. And so there's no hard and fast rule across the board. What that is, what that context is beyond me. I've no idea what it could possibly be, except for maybe, no, I can't. I just don't know. I mean, you're either looking for somebody of this gender or that gender or whatever gender, and you pay them commensurate with their experience. And that's it. Right? But obviously, contexts like actors, depending on who or their charisma, their capabilities, their provenance, they demand more money one way or the other. But if you're talking about employees working for a job, gender shouldn't matter. It's all about knowledge, skills, and abilities, and the ability to apply them to students and or research. Says prior research has shown that despite performing equal duties, men in academia are paid more on average than women. The problem has been allowed to persist. It says Ablaj and Zenger suggest because pay for academics, as with most other professions, is not made public. It really depends on the institution. Public institutions actually have some publicly available institutions have publicly available pay rates, and it can be obtained. Female academics cannot complain about lower wages if they don't know how much their male colleagues are making. True. The work involved obtaining data sets using the Freedom of Information Act. There you go. On approximately 100,000 academics working at public universities. There you go. In the United States from 1997 to 2017. And the data came from both universities that have made salary information public and those that have not, allowing for comparisons to be made. That's probably the best combination, because the ones that are forthcoming with it probably, and I'm not going to be able to make that determination in this session, they probably had less of a gap when their information was already public. And with that, I'm going to have to call it a night, because I really do have a hard out at 7 o'clock and I'm already past it. So I want to thank you if you are in my chat. Thank you very much. If you pick up the podcast later when it gets uploaded, thank you there. If you go over to the website and listen there, wonderful. Thank you very much. And if you go over to YouTube, ohmTown is there as well. And we will be caught up by Monday. That said, thanks again. Appreciate all of you very much.